Well, I've experienced some damaging things in my time, physical accidents and other things. But covert emotional incest has to take the cake. I was just sitting here thinking over some of my experiences with that and the ferocity and the brutality of what you see just as the partner of the mother who's created a covert emotional incest formation with her son. The damage that it causes and creates. I'll give some examples. I've seen abuse where the woman is caught stuck in a corner, cornered in a corner, being screamed at by the son. Screamed at, where I've had to intervene and ask for the situation to stop. The mother would be crying, being abused, because the son had been made the surrogate partner and now she's got a partner, and the jealousy and the rejection and everything that is intensified due to being fueled and fed through the covert emotional lust, incestual lust. See, it creates a lust that has to be fulfilled, and if that shifts and the mother's sharing that emotional part of herself now with a partner, then it's like a husband that's losing his wife. The Bible talks about a husband's fury in the Bible. That's what you'll see in these children, in these young men. It's like they're fighting for their mother as though they're married to them. I know that sounds dramatic and horrible, but it's true. I've seen it with my own two eyes. And again, I keep saying, you'll never beat it. It doesn't matter how hard you try, how nasty it gets, how ugly it gets. The bond in this situation, given that it's tied with maternal instincts as well, can't be broken. And you've got to accept that if you go into this kind of relationship, you're an outsider. You're only meeting the mother's needs while you're useful. As soon as you're not useful anymore, you're done away with. That's it. But the maternal bond and the covert emotional incest loyalty and lust and connection will continue on without you. You'll be gone, but they continue on. So the first thing you've got to ask yourself is, do I want to invest my life, my time into people that have these issues? Because they won't go away, they stay. They don't go anywhere because it's DNA. It's a rich type of, how can I put it, entrenched bond that's welded by the maternal instincts that have shifted and gone beyond maternal into a form of lustful relationship that's fueled by twisted emotions and sarcasms and conversations that belittle people and frustrate goodness. And this is how the lust feeds itself, through that kind of engagement. And eventually, you'll see moments where they turn on each other because they wear each other out with the dysfunctional emotional engagements. They start to turn on one another, and then they'll go from turning on one another to, like, what's it called again? When people have sex when they make up, but it's emotional. All of a sudden they're so deeply connected emotionally in their make-up emotional incest that it's really hard to swallow. It's really hard to take. And if you're in that dimension, you're in that place and you're watching all this going on, the dysfunctional aspects and the destructive aspects of it, you can see that they'd be lifelong. They would be, they will hinder these people for the rest of their lives if they don't get professional therapy. But the thing with covert emotional incest, and many of you women who might come across this will realise if you're married to one of these people, is that the husband can go right throughout his life. I read a comment the other day about a man who was 53. He's lived with his mother all his life. I don't know even if he'd had a relationship. But he'd finally realised at the age of 53 that there was something wrong between him and his mother. The bond was wrong. Now, if you lived with your mother to the age of 53, you ain't getting out of her grasp. She ain't letting you go then. It's too late. Your life's gone. It's over. How are you gonna change the way in which you've been informed after all those years in a way in which is going to be able to have a relationship outside of the maternal one that you've had with your mother? It opposes all principles of the Bible, which encourages you shall leave your parents and cling to the one that you're in the relationship with. That's what the Bible teaches. But yet, so many adult males remain bonded to their mothers. And I've seen this over and over again, the suffering of the people that come into these young men's lives to try and have a relationship with them. It's impossible to have a healthy relationship because the person's too bonded to their mother. Now, you think of the mother, look at it from the mother's aspect. I've never seen a mother, except my own, stand there and say, stay out of my relationship, because they're too frightened that they're going to jeopardize their loyalty. But it's not about loyalty or anything like that. It's simply about one thing, one simple thing, and that's boundaries. One simple thing called boundaries. That's all it's about. Simple, basic boundaries. And these people will not put them in place. That's why it's ended up the way it has, because there were no boundaries. They didn't want boundaries. So the needs were being met by both parties. One on the one side, the adult, and the child who shouldn't be in such a place on the other side. And this is where it all comes undone. This is where it all falls to pieces. I've seen mothers chase after these sons like they're a husband. And I've seen the sons, both times the older ones, neither of them had a girlfriend and looked likely of ever getting one. Yet the hold they had on their mothers was, how can I describe it? So authoritative and standoverish that you'd get a cold shiver up your spine. You'd want to leave. You'd want to leave the environment because you could just sense that something is not right. I think and it's hard to accept. But when I come to the realization that whilst the child was giving me grief, the mother was the problem, because she was enabling it. They were enabling it because they were protecting their security with the child. I mean, if you're in a relationship with one of these mothers and the problem's the child, what you've got to realize is, at the same token, the child's their security. So you are not going to win. You have to accept that. You have to accept that if you're with a mother that's overly attached to a son, to the exclusion of emotional intimacy and connection with you, you've got to accept that that son's gonna win. You're not gonna get any satisfaction in the end. So you need to consider these things, and you need to identify what covert emotional incest is. This is Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Bye for now.